Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. All things Middle-earth here with a video looking at some game suggestions posted by players in the main Rise to War Discord server. We make videos all the time on the channel about updates that I think need to happen, and those usually do come from conversations with multiple people. But I thought it'd be interesting to look through this channel to see which of the things stick out to me as potentially good ideas. I don't know how much the devs look at this. I'm hoping it's a lot, and I hope they actually take from this, but I figured it makes sense for us to all focus on fewer things. That way we really get attention on stuff and at least can get a clear yes or no on certain things, like, I don't know, unique equipment being dismantled, that kind of stuff. But let's go through this and see. I'll link these down below in the description, the ones we do talk about. So if you do think it's a good idea, click the description and upvote these as well if you would like to. That way we can at least get some more eyes on some of these posts. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the video. All right, first one, I couldn't agree more. Game suggestion, add the winky face on the smiley list. I mean, I'm like kind of joking, but more emojis, sure, why not? Here's one that I like because A, I full pulled them, and I do see people mention this quite often. I actually had someone comment on a video who mentioned they had an R15, and they were just like, can you please help me? I'm like, I wish. But it says, rework Thranduil to be a full leader / elven support, like a version like Gil, Celeborn, Elrond, or make him a better warrior in version of like the dwarf warriors like Dane and whoever else. He does a little bit of both. He's not my favorite. I've seen people say that he can work. Maybe it's higher spec level, maybe it's gear. I don't know. But I've heard a lot of people talk about Thranduil. So maybe we give Thranduil some love as the next commander that gets a little bit of a rework to his kit. Another elven commander here being Elrond. It says to swap Elrond's Convener and his Starlight spot skills. I do think if Elrond's Convener was in a better spot, he'd be even better. I do think after the slight buff, he is quite a bit better with the half elven change. But if his Convener were put in a better spot, he would be, I feel like, a much better tier 3, and it would not upset people. But again, that one might be a little bit less likely since he's already gotten a buff. But hey, I like this one. Dismantle Unique. Are you guys ignoring everyone or what? Maybe they are. I don't know. I don't know. I've made lots of videos. Nobody disagrees with this. I honestly just wish they would come out and just say, no, we're not going to do that. Give us a reason or don't, but just say no if you're not going to, because clearly it's something that upsets people. And I do think long-term, if you added some flexibility, people would feel more confident to spend. But myself personally, I do not want to do any more uniques because they're so restrictive. Just my thought. This one I will talk about. Actually, this was posted by, I'll leave it anonymous because it's posted anonymous. If they want to say who they are in the comments, that's fine. But I did see it in my Discord. And it's a suggestion to nerf Alchemist and High Alert. I would be curious what you guys think, because this one is pretty split on 17 likes and 13 dislikes. But it says nerf Alchemist and High Alert. Alchemists need to be nerfed since they are such a unfun unit. When fighting them, you either have burn protection and dominate, or you die. Not incorrect. That is how it works pretty much. In my opinion, their burn damage should get nerfed down to 200%, and the Sapper, their tier 2 units, get brought down to 150. This way, Alchemists are still viable, but are not completely broken against anyone without burn protection. In the same patch, High Alert needs to be nerfed as well. That is so the Alchemists don't become completely useless against High Alert, and so the other elemental damage commanders and units can actually exist in the game. I suggest nerfing High Alert to 30% damage reduction. That way it gets a relatively equal nerf as Alchemists, so the High Alert and Alchemist matchup stays about the same, and commanders like Sistaro and Skullhelm and units like Corsairs and Fellbeast are not at least terrible against High Alert. I mean, let's be real. I run Witch King. I love Alchemists, so like the thought of that changing does kind of scare me. However, I will say the High Alert meta is kind of nasty, and it does prohibit us from using commanders we might otherwise use quite a bit more. So something to think about. I think this is a pretty good suggestion. Let me know what you guys think down below. Another one here that I see a lot is a gear wish list. Also stop putting random dumb stuff in updates. But seriously, a gear wish list, just like we have a respect one, that would go a long way. Even if it wasn't a guarantee pull, just like respect items or not, if it was just a, for respect items, it's a 50% chance if you pull a gold item, you can get one on your wish list. If they did that 50 or even less for gear, to say, hey, it's going to be either type, which would be one, and even better would be like, I want some bone masks, for example. Let me increase the chance just a little bit. Just a little bit. Maybe even for purple gear only. I don't know. Let's start there. This one will be interesting. I don't know, obviously different types of players, but this has been asked for since the beginning of the game. It says, please add a shop for prestige. You could be able to buy 400 gems with 10k prestige. Wouldn't be that overpowered. It'd be good for free-to-play players who are active but have no chance against whales. It would also help you because more players would spend more money on the game, have better chances in fighting, so it's a win-win situation, right? I think Yeah, mostly I don't see any harm. I don't know what the conversion would be between like actual prestige and these points or how that would work, but it would be nice for those that fight to be able to do something. There could be conversations about, well, hey, the big whales who like just don't lose, like we've seen in our server this season with some of the crazy whales. Maybe they just, but again, little bit of gyms is not going to change them or affect their accounts, whereas it could actually be nice for free-to-plays who are active. So I think this is a pretty good idea. I like it. Here's one, it'll look pretty long one here, but I want to go through it. It says, please reduce the waiting time before a new season. When a season ends, we have to wait many days in games until the timer is reached. This needs to be addressed 100%. There's no reason once the servers are done, they should sit there in game. We need more manual intervention to stop the dead servers. More days till we go into bag end, multiple days in bag end until we enjoy another campaign, or even many days in bag end until we can join the type of campaign we like. These two, I'll disagree with slightly, because if they would do a better job at making sure servers end when they're done, it wouldn't be as big of a deal. But I would be okay waiting in bag end a little bit longer if it meant more active seasons. So I think we need a little bit of both. We need manual override. If the seasons are over, they need to be keeping an eye on their game and analytically, however they can do it, saying, okay, this server is done. Just send them to bag end, and then, just let it be. I don't want to wait a long time in bag end, but I would wait longer for a more active season, if that makes sense. That's the short of it. So that's my point on that. Additionally, a campaign or faction can also be full, meaning we have to wait even longer. The new season reward system punishes full factions, meaning less people per faction would improve the situation for many. It also reduces situations where we find not a single free land field all around us because it's so crowded. Therefore, reducing the waiting times on the server at the end of the season, maybe reduce the season timer. Large reduces or remove the waiting time until we go to bag end. Add new campaigns and bag end more frequently. Vary the days and times when campaign starts. I wouldn't. That's a good point. We need different times. Like, shake it up. I'm tired of getting up at 3 or 4 in the morning. I mean, I stay up for 24 hours straight, but like, can it be at like 9 or 10 for me one time? I think there's a lot of good stuff in this one. I'll let you guys read through the rest, but I agree with a lot of the points. I do think the quicker time in bag end I'm not okay with if it comes at the cost of like less active servers. I do think incentive or figuring out some way to balance out factions, which again in season 6 is not a thing. Yes, we need some options, but interesting stuff here for sure. Let me know what you guys think. By the way, I'll try and like pin these if you guys want to talk about it in the comments. They have suggestion numbers, so if you like want to leave a comment and talk about it, just say, hey, my point on suggestion 1954 or whatever, or link the time, whatever it is, if you guys have a thought on these things. But yeah, moving on. This one's pretty upvoted here. It says, game suggestion, rework the tier 3s. They are supposed to be the strongest commanders in the game. Half of them are useless. Please change that. Honestly, I agree. Like, I understand that different things are going to counter different things, but there should be a reasonable progression from tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Again, I get it. Like, an R25 tier 1 should perform really well, but there are some R3 or R5 tier 1s, in my opinion, who I would prefer over R3 and R5. Equal respect level. That shouldn't be the case. So, yeah. This one is very, very upvoted. It says, add more ways to get all kinds of mithril that isn't behind a cash wall. Again, that would be very solid as well. Yeah, we've talked about mithril and R10s a lot, so I agree that would be nice. All right, we're going to do a couple more here that we're going to wrap up. These are very interesting. I like going through the ideas, and I'd love to hear what you guys think, so make sure you comment down below. Let me know which ones you are a fan of, or go and make sure you've upvoted them as well. I'd love to see some of these jump up. If they're at 40 right now, let's say, if you agree with it, it'd be awesome to see these get into the couple hundred so they could see, okay, like we've got a presence here of people who are wanting changes. They want the game to be better. This one's about Kamul, who I have sitting at R10 on the bench for a long time. It says, make Kamul Shadow of the East and Poison Damage skill modified by Focus. Right now, they're absolutely useless skills. From my experience using them, one hit of Shadow of the East does about 8k damage compared to that Andril, which does 12k damage twice if you don't get any boost from up and expertise. Not scaling with Focus just makes the damage from those two skills absolutely pathetic, and it becomes even worse when High Alert gets involved. High Alert meta, we talked about it. Kamul should not be terrible at doing commander damage. Kamul is the only actual named Nazgul we have in all of Middle-earth lore. Like, the Witch King is the Witch King, but that's not his actual name. Whereas, come on, give Kamul some love. Something with Kamul. I agree. And we'll wrap up with this one here. It is a skill point preset suggestion. We've talked about this a lot on the channel as well. It says, make 2 or 3 presets for commander skill points build, which the player can customize and save. A third preset slot could be for paying players. Changing between presets would still cost 20 gems. There should be a 30-second or 1-minute delay, so attacking players don't know what to expect. Currently, it takes me at least 50 seconds to change my skills because my phone isn't very fast, I guess. If a player earns additional skill points, then those wouldn't be involved until the player saves a new preset. Something similar is already done in Vikings War of Clans, which is the worst game than this, but it's a nice feature. If it's not possible in the near future of 6 months, then at least add the max button for the skill points. We did a video. I photoshopped a thumbnail that was like had a max all option. Yes, some just quality of life to skill points. Honestly, 20 gems for resetting. It gets old. I know if you have a bunch, it's not a big deal. But with clairvoyance in the game now, where they want you to scouting and figuring out and countering and learning, maybe let us set 2 presets, and then to change beyond, you can change back and forth from those for free. And then if you're going to a third one, you can maybe charge. I don't know. I just make it a little bit more forgiving to play and like look at the reports. Like that's, to me, that's part of the fun that I think people, if they could get into more, would enjoy. So skill point reset or preset needs adjustment. I would not disagree with that. But hey, I don't know. We did like 10 there. I'm not sure. Some really interesting ideas. Definitely some stuff that I think could be beneficial for the game. Again, I'm going to link all these down below in the description. I'll link them and then try and put a little title like skill point preset, and I'll link this post here. So please check out the description. Go, if you want to go through and like all the ones we talked about, feel free to do that. Again, I just started at the bottom here, you know, as of today, as of the 13th of October, and I scrolled up a little bit, so you could probably see the ones we talked about. But let's, again, I think the best thing we can do for this game is, you know, to keep talking, to keep telling the devs which things we like, which things you don't like. Again, maybe if you see suggestions you don't like, feel free to throw a dislike on. I'm not saying to like downvote people into oblivion, but if they're bad suggestions or things that we don't want in the game, we need to be clear about that. So at least we know that we did our part as a community. So anyway, that's gonna do it for this one. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you all in a future video.